Thank you for joining us today for this Wednesday webinar that will cover some grading options in Moodle ISU and some strategies that will help you be more efficient in your grading. Moodle ISU offers multiple ways to grade your students' work, and some frequently used activities that are assessed in Moodle are the assignment and discussion activities. You may already be familiar with these activities. However, today we will focus on grading options when working with these two activities. It is important to mention that not all activities and resources within Moodle support grade settings, but there are many options that do, and that also allow for flexibility with how you assess your students. The assignment activity allows you to grade with the following three options: simple direct grading, using a grading guide, and using a rubric. We will go over how each of these function later in the presentation. The forum activity allows you to grade with the following four options: simple direct grading, using a grading guide, using a rubric, and using ratings. Scales are another option to rate student performance in Moodle ISU. However, they do not calculate in the gradebook and therefore do not contribute to an overall grade. Next, Sasha will demonstrate how you can use these different grading options in your course.
Thank you, Kim. So let's first look at the grading methods for Moodle ISU assignments. You can find the different grading methods in the grade section of the Moodle ISU assignments in the settings. And here we can choose from simple direct grading, grading guide, and rubric, as Kim mentioned. So I'm going to start with simple direct grading. On the assignment page, regardless of the grading method that you've chosen, you can select View All Submissions to see all of the student submissions in one place, and you can use the Grade button on this page to open the grading interface for a specific student, or alternatively, you can use the Grade button on the main assignment page to open the grade interface. Once in that interface, there may be a review panel on the left and the grade panel will be on the right. You can change between the different views here using the buttons in the bottom corner. So the middle button is selected by default, and that is typically the review panel on the left and the grade panel on the right. You can collapse the grade panel and just show the review panel by using the button on the right, or you can collapse the review panel and just show the grade panel by using the button on the left. You can also change between users using the Change User field. There are forward and back buttons to move between users, or you can type a student's name and that will bring up the drop-down menu to select a specific student. And with simple direct grading, this is what is showing now. We can see that the grade panel has one box for you to enter the score and one box for you to enter feedback comments. This review panel is tied to the Annotate PDF option that's available in the feedback types that's located within the assignment settings. So we can see that we have Annotate PDF selected as a feedback type. Feedback comments is tied to that field that allows you to enter those overall feedback comments. And you can also choose to enable feedback files, which would allow you to upload a file into a feedback files area for the student. So with the Annotate PDF option enabled, you'll see the student submitted work as a PDF in that review panel, and you can add comments and mark up the file using the annotation tools. You can also move between pages if there are multiple pages that students have submitted here. And you are welcome to reach out to any of us here at the ITRC if you would like help setting up the PDF annotations for your assignments. Once you have finished grading a student, you can choose to save the changes for that particular student, or you can choose to save this particular student's feedback and show the next student who needs a grade. You can also elect to notify the student that they've received feedback by enabling the Notify Student checkbox. Back on the View All Submissions page, you will see the score that you entered, as well as any feedback comments. And another option that's available with simple direct grading is the ability to enable quick grading. So if you scroll to the bottom of the View All Submissions page, you'll see there's a checkbox to enable quick grading. And with that enabled, you'll be able to enter scores and feedback directly on the View All Submissions page. So here we can see that we have fields now in this page where you can enter their scores and feedback directly. Once you have finished adding their scores and feedback, you'll scroll down to the bottom of the page and choose Save All Quick Grading Changes. And again, you can choose to notify the student that they have received feedback. So that is the simple direct grading method for Moodle ISU assignments, but there are also those other two advanced grading methods, grading guide and rubric. These options can be enabled from within the assignment settings, like I showed earlier, or on the main assignment page. When you have that open, there's an advanced grading link that you can use to open and choose grading guide or rubric from there. Here you can also see that the simple grading method is going to be used because I don't have a grading guide or rubric set up. So until that grading form is set up and ready to use, the assignment will default to simple direct grading. In order to build that form, we select the define new grading form from scratch, and that is for both the grading guide and the rubric. So if I select that, we can see that both of the form building pages are similar, but also a little different. So with the rubric, you will have specific levels within the rubric for each criterion that you add. So we could see we can add a criterion here, and I can enter a 0 point level that is something like no submission. And then we can add the different levels for that specific criterion. With the grading guide, you would give it a name and a description for the expectations for the student. You can also add a description for graders if you have TAs doing some grading, and then you would enter the maximum score. We encourage you to reach out to us at the ITRC if you would like help building a grading guide or a rubric. We can help you build one outside of Moodle or within Moodle. And once you've built that grading guide in the Moodle ISU assignment, you'll access the grading interface the same way you did or you would for a simple direct grading. And that is by using the grade button that's on the main assignment page or one of the grade buttons that's available on the View All Submissions page. And here's where it gets a little bit different, because you can see here, this is the rubric grading, and we have our aspects all lined out here. And then we have the different levels of each aspect. And with this method, you just have to come in here and select the level that the student is at for that criterion. And then you can also add additional feedback comments in the text field to let the student know why they received the score that they did on that aspect. Again, you have the ability to notify students and save changes or save and show next. And you can see here that I have the review panel collapsed so that I'm just seeing the rubric here. And on the grading guide, you can also add remarks, it says, for each criterion that you've added here. And this is where you can see that you can add a range of points up to the maximum score that you have allotted for that specific criterion. So moving on to the forum grading, we also have the simple direct, rubric, and grading guide methods that are available in the whole forum grading section of the forum settings. So with all three of these methods, you'll access the grading interface the same way, and it's a grade users button that appears in the forum itself. So when you select grade users, it will show you the grading interface. Again, you have the left panel and the right panel. The left panel is going to show you all of the students' discussion posts and replies in one place for this particular forum. And then on the right panel, you have the option, the grading options. So with this one selected, this is the simple direct grading. Again, we can see we just have a grade field to enter their grade, and we can notify the student that they've received feedback. You can also switch between users using the back and forward arrows, and then you would save your changes for each student. Using the grading guide, again, we have specific aspects with a range of points on each one. So we can see here that the coherence is the first aspect here, and the max score is 5. So I could enter a score anywhere from 0 to 5 on this aspect, as well as any additional comments to let the student know why they got that score on that aspect. Now with the rubric, you have, again, the specific levels of each criterion that you select where the student falls. And then you can also add additional feedback for the student to let them know why they fell where they did and how they could improve, or to highlight great things that they did in their post. So the last one that I want to talk about is the ratings method. So this is also available within the forum settings, and it's a separate section for ratings. So this one, you can choose to aggregate the ratings as an average of all of the ratings that the student got on their forum posts and replies within this discussion forum. You can just count the number of ratings that they got, or you can use the maximum rating they got or the minimum rating they got, or sum all of their ratings here. So with any of these options enabled, what you will find is that to grade your students, you will open each of the discussion topics within the forum, and you'll see that you have a rate button, and you can select that to choose the level of performance for the student on their post or their reply. And regardless of the grading method that you choose for Moodle ISU assignments or Moodle ISU forums, the course gradebook is going to automatically be populated when you grade within the forum or within the assignment. And so you only need to do it in one place. And that can help increase efficiency with grading, and using all of these grading features within Moodle ISU can help improve efficiency. And I will pass it over to Ryan, who will talk more about that.
Great, thanks, Sasha. So what I often have to remind myself is to not go into too much detail. So what I'm going to do right now is talk about why efficiency is important and how it's mutually beneficial for students and for faculty. So that's why I went with the handshake meme here. So for students, receiving feedback faster helps foster and sustain engagement. It helps them understand the pace of the class better. They also will retain focused feedback better than overly verbose feedback. I have learned from lots of experience being more verbose than necessary. And students receive feedback faster, and therefore their engagement is sustained. It helps foster their ability to build according to the pace that you've set out in your course schedule. They will better retain that focused feedback. And that means that the focused feedback, they'll be able to better incorporate into their future activities in the class. For you as the instructor, by prioritizing the essential ideas, that will help you grade more quickly and do all the benefits for the students that I've just outlined. It also helps you better standardize your feedback, which means you can reduce your mental effort. So you prioritize what the students need to hear, and therefore don't have to sort of rethink explanations each time. And you therefore also can retain your time and your energy for the other things you need to do as a faculty member. So committee work, research, refining your course in other ways, all of those other things, you get to preserve your time and energy for those if you choose to give the most efficient feedback that's adequate for what your students need at that particular level. So up next, Mark is going to give us more tips and tricks about these sorts of things. So take it away, Mark.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about tools for efficient grading, and we went through a lot of them today, just talking about the rubric and grading guides that Sasha did a great job of explaining. So your rubrics in Moodle are there for you as instructors to help you with grading efficiency. And rubrics contain a set criteria and an evaluation scale with levels corresponding to the point values. So we definitely encourage you to work with the ITRC to set this up, which will help expedite your grading. And the same thing with the grading guide. Your grading guides establish a set of criteria when grading students. Form is presented, where you can leave a score for the criteria. And so that, again, is another way to set up grading efficiently. You can also leave comments in a comment bank. So the advanced grading feature within Moodle allows you to establish a comment bank or frequently used comments where you can build in and then be able to quickly put those into assignments and customize those, saving you a great deal of time when giving students feedback. Another option is you can create one on your own and copy and paste it from a Google Doc and customize it. And so those are just great ways of saving you time in while you're grading, while giving students the feedback that they need for their assignments. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about grading in groups and the workflow. And this is a nice option for you if you have a large class. This will allow you to take that elephant and eat it in smaller bites. So you can have students submit their assignments in groups. And in order to do that, you first need to set up your groups. And so to do that, you want to go to the participants and select the groups. And then that'll allow you to create the groups from your list of students. And then what you want to do is you want to enable the group submission and make it invisible. So if you go to the assignment settings and under the group submission, which is a section under the settings, you can go down and you can make it so that students submit in groups and require them to make submissions. And then another section within the assignment settings is the common module settings, which you want to make those groups visible. And so that's going to make that visible so that you can go in and see those groups, okay, and your students as well. Now, we also want to talk a little bit about, from the instructor end, how you can sort those groups by going into the assignment. And so now, since you've made those groups visible, you can see that the groups are listed here. And then that allows you to take the big elephant of grading 40, 50 assignments and breaking that down into a smaller, manageable, bite-sized chunks for your grading. And the last thing I want to talk a little bit about is grading workflow. And grading workflow allows phases. So if you have a large class and you have multiple people grading, let's say you have some TAs helping you grade, you can set up workflow so that you can manage this a little bit easier. And so in order to do that, you first need to set up the grade flow and grade it. So to do that, you would want to go to the assignment settings and scroll down to the grades section again, and then where it says use grading workflow, you want to turn that on and say yes. And then that'll enable the grading workflow state. So when you go to back to the assignment and you go to grade it like Sasha showed you in that grading panel on the right-hand side, you'll now have the option to choose your workflow stating. So you can see it's in different phases. There's not graded. The in grading means that the grading's in process, but maybe not completed. Maybe they had to go back and put it on hold for a second. Grading completed, grading in review, ready for release. And that would notify the instructor that the grading's done and it's ready for release. And then the instructor can then release the assignments out to the students after they've kind of done their final quality check. So those are just some ways that you can use groups and you can use grading workflow to make your grading more efficient. But if you would like to use any of these tools, we recommend that you contact the ITRC and speak with a full-time member of our staff, and we can help you set this up.
I would also mention that the grading workflow can be nice if you don't want to release grades individually for students. So say you want all of your students to get their grades at the same time. So you don't want your students going, hey, I got a grade already, or so-and-so got a grade already. How come I don't have one? And so you can use that grading workflow state to release all of the scores at once.
If you would like to learn more about this subject and other exciting subjects in Moodle, you can access that in a number of ways. We have our Tiger Tracks articles about Moodle, where you can get step-by-step hands-on instructions on how to do various activities in Moodle. We also have our ITRC video library, which houses similar videos to this, walking you through processes and steps in Moodle, as well as other related topics. You can always meet with a member of our staff by email, by phone, or simply stop down to our on-site location on the Pocatello campus in the Buller Library. We're on the lower level, room B17. And please watch out for future Wednesday webinars. We announced these webinars on Idaho State Today, or you can check the ISU events calendar.